let's start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So first we're doing the Fara'id of Wudu. Yeah? Have you take your sheet out so you have it in front of you. Okay, so as you guys have learned before, and you guys should know it anyway, the Fara'id of Wudu, there are 4 of them. Just very quickly, the word Fard, what does that mean? Yep.
Compulsory.
Compulsory. Fara'id, what does that mean? Yeah, they're both the same thing. Fard is singular, and Fara'id is plural. They both mean the same thing. Just like how you have pen and pens with an S at the end. They both mean the same thing, but one is singular and one is plural. So you guys have to know these words. So the word Fard. And again, there are 4 of them, isn't there? Happy, can you read out the first sentence?
Wash the full face from the top.
Before that, where it says Fard.
Something that you must do. By leaving this action out, the wudu remains incomplete. Even if one was left out by accident, the wudu will not be valid.
Yeah, so in the Fara'id of Wudu, even if one dot was left out, the whole wudu will not count. The entire body, all the 4 things, properly must be wet. So nothing can be left dry. So the reason why we need to know what these Fara'id are, because when we're doing wudu, we're extra careful, isn't it? That we're washing the full face, the full arms, doing mass of the head properly, and washing the feet especially, the ankles. Because many times we do wudu, and the elbows, over here right at the back of the elbows, left dry, because we just do this. And all this is left dry. Or the ankles as well, right at the back of the heels, that part is left dry. So if a person does wudu like that for the entire life, for 60 years, they've been doing wudu, and their elbows have been left dry, the whole 60 years of their salah will not count. And they need to repeat all their salahs that they think that the wudu hasn't been done properly. So this is how important it is. So everyone needs to know what the fara'id of wudu are, and then start practicing on them as quickly as possible. So the first thing now is, where do the fara'id of wudu come from? Who made them up? Who said they're fard?
Allah.
Yeah, that's the first question. Second question, where does it say they're fard? Habib, I want you to take that Quran and find chapter, surah number 5, verse number 6.
Oh.
So I'll read the Arabic and then Habib, you can read the English.
Okay.
So first Allah says, okay, this is the verse of the Quran where Allah talks about wudu. So Allah, in one place of the entire Quran, Allah teaches us, Allah tells us to do wudu. Only one verse in the whole Quran. So this is the verse. Allah says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين. That's it. So in one line, Allah has told us to do wudu. Okay, Habib, can you read the first part of the...
O you who have an iman, when you stand up to perform salah, wash your faces, your arms up to and including the elbows, pass wet hands over your heads, and wash your feet up to and including your ankles.
Yeah. Okay, so that's fine. So now, how many things has Allah mentioned in here? So what's the first thing Allah said we have to wash? Yep.
Hands.
Okay, so the first thing Allah says, to wash your face. Number 1, face. What's the second thing?
Your arms up to and including the elbows.
Arms, including ankles. What's the third thing Allah says? Oh, sorry.
Ankles.
What does that say? Who says ankles?
Elbows.
Yeah. Should listen to you guys. Okay, so arms including elbows. Next one.
Pass wet hands over your heads.
Yes, to wipe the heads also.
Yeah, okay,
Wipe the heads. Yep, and number 4?
Why is it heads? Wash.
Because Allah's talking to a group of people.
Wash your feet up to and including your ankles.
Yeah. Feet.
Can you even see it? Okay,
Okay, feet including ankles. So Allah has told us to do 4 things, isn't it? Are there anything else Allah has told us?
No.
No. So this is where the 4 fara'id of wudu comes in. So Allah has Allah told us to rinse our mouth here, gargle the mouth, rinse the nose, wash each part 3 times. Has He told us to do everything in order? No. So all of these, so only these 4 things are fard. So now Allah has told us to make sure you wash your face. So before you want to do salah, you have to wash your face, you have to wash your arms including the elbows, you have to wipe the head, you have to do you have to wash the feet including the ankles. Allah hasn't given us any other detail. So what that means is all 4 things we have to do them fully. So we have to make sure you wash every single part of these 4 things. But how we do them, Allah hasn't told us. Whether we jump in the swimming pool and we come out, wudu will be done. Because we wash these 4 things. If we take a shower and we wash all these 4 things, then our wudu is done. Any way whatsoever, these 4 parts are wet and they're fully wet, our wudu will be done. Any questions on that?
So if you do take a shower, that's basically wudu.
Yes. So if you take a shower and then straight away after salah time, for example, you don't need to perform wudu again. So because you wash these 4 things, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. So let's say if you go swimming, and after swimming it's salah time when you get back home, you don't need to perform wudu again, because you've already washed these 4 parts while you're swimming around, isn't it? Yeah. So any way whatsoever, these 4 things are wet, your wudu will count. Even let's say it's not going to happen. Let's say it's raining very heavily and you're outside, and you just quickly make sure everything. You're getting wet anyway, so you just rub your face and your arms, making sure everything's fully wet. You've got wudu.
That's so lazy.
It is, but we're just talking about the basic requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only these 4 things. So now the question is, where does everything else come from then? Why do we say wash your hands first, say Bismillah, wash your hands, rinse your mouth, rinse your nose? Where do these things come from?
What?
In wudu we don't just say do these 4 things, isn't it? We say first you say Bismillah, then you should wash your hands first, then you should rinse your mouth 3 times, you should rinse your nose 3 times. Where do all these things come from? If Allah has only told us to do 4.
The Prophet?
Yes, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's why they're called Sunnah, isn't it? And what does the word Sunnah mean?
Things the Prophet did occasionally.
Occasionally is the ghayr mu'akkada part.
Often.
But yeah, you're right. Those things that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do these things in his wudu. And because we're supposed to follow him, that's why it's sunnah for us to do those other things as well. Has everyone understood where the fara'id come from now? You guys understood it a bit better now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and how the sunnah comes into it and how the fard comes into it and how they all link together? Okay, so now let's start going through the 4 fara'id together.
Should I say all of them?
Let's say number 1 first.
Okay. Wash the full face from the top of the forehead to the chin from one ear left to another. Once.
It's actually supposed to be bottom of the chin.
Okay.
Okay, so now, since Allah has told us to wash our face, does that mean half of your face or some of your face? How much of that?
Full face.
Yeah. So when someone tells you to do something, it means you have to do it properly. So let's say I tell you, read this book, and you say, you just read a page, and you come back and tell me I'm done. I've read it. No. So when Allah tells us to do something, it means you have to do all of it, not some of it. Let's say if I tell you to pray, I say, have you prayed Dhuhr Salah? So instead of 4 rakats, you just do 1 rakat and come back. Would you say that you prayed Dhuhr Salah? No, because you have to do the full thing. So when Allah tells us to do something, we have to do the full thing. So when Allah tells us to wash the face, that means the full face. So that means even if 1 dot is left dry, the whole wudu will not count. So it's supposed to be from the top of the forehead, which is here, which is the hairline. Why don't we just say from the hairline then, to make it easier, instead of saying from the top of the forehead?
Because someone that's bald might not have a hairline.
Yeah, someone that's bald might not have a hairline. So we want to just make it applicable for everyone. Or some people hairline starts, when they're getting older and their hairline starts going back all the way to the top of the head. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So if you said hairline, they'll have to wash all the way from the top of the head. Yeah, so you wash the full face from the top of the forehead to the bottom of the chin. It's supposed to be bottom of the chin. And then from one earlobe to the other. Do you need to wash your earlobes?
No.
No, you don't need to. It's just telling you where the face is, basically. That's all it is. So when you do wudu, make sure your hands touch your hairline, your thumbs go all the way around, make sure to touch the edge of the earlobes, and go all the way down to the bottom of the chin as well. And very important, make sure you rub your eyes as well, especially the corner of your eyes, because you don't want that to be left dry. So like this. Yeah, like that. So that has to be done at least once. So that's the minimum amount for the wudu to be counted. Can you read number 2?
Wash both arms, including the elbows, once.
Yeah. So the key thing here is, okay, what he means by arms, the fard of wudu starts from the fingertips all the way until the elbows. So it doesn't start from the arms over here. It starts all the way from the fingertips and all the way including the elbows. So normally we do wudu and the elbow is left dry. So we have to make sure we rub that part like this, making sure we do it properly. And also underneath the fingernails. If the fingernails are long, that might prevent the water from touching the skin underneath the fingernails. So the wudu will not count. So if someone's fingernails are too long, they need to cut them. Or if you have something stuck underneath your fingernails, like dough or I don't know, what else can you get stuck underneath your fingernails? Play-doh. Slime. Yeah, so all of these things. So
Sand.
Yeah. So if they get stuck underneath your fingernails, your wudu will not count, because that's still a part of the fard. I think that's the question that many students got wrong in the exam.
What if you've got like something like a bruise in your nail?
Bruise?
Yeah, you can get bruises in your nail.
That's fine. Because the water will still touch the skin, isn't it?
Okay.
Yes. If there's anything that stops the water from touching the skin. So let's say if you have super glue, that becomes a layer on top of your skin, isn't it? So that stops the water from touching your skin. So your wudu will not count. You need to take it off, or try best to take it off. And number 3, who wants to read? Okay, type it and then have you can go to answer.
Do massa the quarter of the head once.
Yeah, do massa of quarter of the head once. Quarter of the head is this amount, just over here, like this.
Half
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. So just less than half. So roughly just a bit more than 4 fingers, I'd say. 4 finger amount. Yeah. That's how much is fard. But obviously we do the sunnah. We don't just do quarter and be lazy. Just very quickly. Here it says to do massa of a quarter of the head. When we wrote down from the Quran, did Allah say to do massa of a quarter of the head?
No.
Allah just said wipe the head, isn't it? So why do we say quarter of the head?
Because Muhammad.
Yes, good answer. Yeah. So normally, the normal rule is that when Allah tells us to wash something, we have to wash the whole thing, isn't it? Whereas in terms of the head, we're not saying you have to wipe the whole head. We're saying we have to do a quarter of the head. Because we find some hadith or some instances where his companions narrating that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ done wudu and he done massa of approximately a quarter of his head. So that if the whole head was fard, would the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ not know how to do wudu properly? Of course he would know, isn't it? Yeah. So the fact that he only done massa of the front part of his head, a quarter, means that you only have to do a quarter, isn't it? Does that make sense? So that's where we get that from. And then Habib, last one.
Wash both feet, including the ankles, once.
Yeah. So the key thing here is, okay, again, the water has to reach underneath the toenails as well. So if the toenails are long, your wudu will not, and the water does not go inside the toenails, your wudu will not count. So you have to make sure the toenails are short, and secondly, make sure you wash the ankles and behind the heels as well. You have to make sure when you're doing wudu that you're rubbing all of your foot to make sure it's wet. So these 4 fara'id, you cannot rush them. If you rush them, very likely your whole wudu will not count. And then you'll be sinful for reading, for touching the Quran. Let's say you're at home, you do wudu, and you come to the mosque, but you've rushed your wudu and you haven't done it properly. Now the Quran that you're reading here, instead of getting rewards, you probably get sins for them. And salah as well. You're praying salah and your salah won't count. So it's just better that we should take our time while we're doing these 4 things. One question. So just a recap on some rules regarding the Fara'id wudu. If I do the Fara'id wudu in the complete wrong order, will my wudu count? Anyone?
Yes.
Yes, it will count. Why? Because as long as these 4 things are washed. Now let's say, second question. Let's say I wash my full face, I wash my arms including the elbows, and then someone knocks on the door, and I answer the door. And I talk to them for about 1 hour. And then I come back, and I just do massage of my head, and I wash my feet. Is my wudu done? What do you guys think?
No.
Okay, you think no? Tiger, what do you think?
Yes.
You think yes? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Can I say why? Because it says even if one action has been left out, the wudu will not be valid. But you still did all of them.
Yes, you've still washed all of them, haven't you?
And it doesn't say in the Fara'id that you have to wash each part before the other part dries.
Yeah, that's a Sunnah wudu, isn't it? To wash each part before the other part dries. So all you have to remember is you have to think to yourself. So any question that comes to you regarding this, all you have to just think to yourself, has that person washed all the 4 Fara'id or not? So Habib, in our case, did he wash all the 4 Fara'id? Yes, so then you should say the wudu is done. Now let's say someone's done wudu in the morning. Now say 10 hours has gone past. They haven't gone to the toilet or they haven't broken the wudu or anything. But 10 hours later they remembered, oh yeah, I didn't do massage of my head. Now 10 hours has gone by. And they just remembered, I didn't do massage of my head. Do they need to repeat the wudu again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
What?
Because, why do they need to wash their face again? They've already washed their face, haven't they? The only thing that they haven't done is the massage. So they've got wudu on their face, they've got wudu of the arms, they've got wudu of the feet. What don't they have wudu of? The head. So just wipe the head. Does that make sense?
No.
Because we have to wash how many things, Taiba?
4.
4 things. And how many things have they washed so far out of the 4?
All of 3.
3. But what haven't they done? What they forgot about?
Masa.
So now they've done 3 of them. Now what's left is the 1, isn't it? So now you just tell them, okay, just do masa of your head, and all 4 are done. Because remember, as long as the 4 parts are washed, any way whatsoever, the wudu is done.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Everyone understood now? Yeah.
You know how 10 hours pass? What if they were reading the Quran, but obviously in that 10 hours, and then they touched the Quran?
Yeah, so they won't. That's a good question. They won't be sinful, and because they didn't know about it, isn't it? It was an accident. Yeah. And it's not because they were careless. It's just because they forgot, which is fine. Allah won't punish us for forgetting. Next question. Okay, someone does wudu. Someone starts doing wudu, so washing their hands, rinsing their mouth, nose. They wash their face. Then they wash their arms, including their elbows. And then what happens is they pass wind.
So they do it during wudu.
Yeah. And then they think, okay, I'm still doing wudu. My body parts are wet. My face is still wet. It's not dry. My arms are still wet. So they just continue with their wudu. They do masa and they wash their feet. Is their wudu okay?
No.
So what do you think?
Wait.
But their face and arms are still wet. Everything's wet. They've washed all these 4 parts.
No.
It's not okay.
No, I mean, yeah.
It is okay.
Yeah. Wait, like it's
Not
fine.
okay because yeah, he passed wind actually.
I think yes. Because first of all, yeah, because he's wiped all of those, and second of all, it doesn't say in this that it breaks when he's doing it. It only does when it's finished the wudu.
Okay. Anyone else agree? Or do you disagree? You don't know. Okay, I'll tell you the answer.
It just the things that we've done already.
Okay, here, so first the person washed their face, which is the first fard, and then they washed their arms. And then they passed wind, isn't it? So for this, the nawaqid of wudu will take place. You'll have to understand the nawaqid of wudu. So as soon as it passed wind, they've done one of the nawaqid of wudu, haven't they?
Yes.
So that means it will break their wudu. So now, before, they had wudu of their face and they had wudu of their arms. But as soon as they pass wind, they've broken the wudu of their face now, haven't they? And they've broken the wudu that they had on their arms. So now, it's as if they haven't washed anything, because they just passed wind, and whatever they did have wudu of, it's broken. So now they will have to restart.
Yeah.
So although the face and arms are still wet, but it won't count as wudu, because they've broken that wudu. Does that make sense, though? Any other questions on the fara'id? Okay, can you read the last sentence? The next sentence after the 4?
If you only do the 4 fara'id, your wudu will be counted, but you will not get the full reward.
Yeah, so we should not make a habit of only doing the 4 fara'id. We should try to do the sunnah all the time. Except, let's say, 2 cases where we can do the 4 fara'id, or 3 cases. One is that, let's say, you're in a rush. You're about to go somewhere, you're about to go to the mosque, for example, and if you take your time, you might miss the salah at the mosque or something. So then you quickly do the 4 fara'id and you go. Okay, because it's only once or twice you'll be doing it, it's not a habit, then it's fine. So you just do the 4 fara'id and then go to the mosque. Or let's say you're traveling somewhere and you have less water. And it's happened to me so many times. We're traveling, we only have a small bottle of water to do wudu with. So we go to some place or a car park or something and we'll do with a small bottle of water. So there we'll just do the fara'id of wudu. Because we have less water, which is fine. Or let's say you're ill and you're not feeling well at all in salah time. And so you can just do the 4 fara'id of wudu and then do salah. But generally, it should not be a habit that we only do the 4 fara'id. And if it is a habit, we're only doing the 4 fara'id and we never do the sunnah, we can even be sinful. Allah can even punish us for not following the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because these are sunnah mu'akkadas that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do all the time. Any questions on that? And then we've still got last sentence. You want to read it?
Me.
Okay, that type. I read the last one.
This one.
Yeah.
Remember to do sunnah and mustahab to get the full reward. If you are in a hurry or there's little water, then you can only do the 4 fara'id.
Yeah, which I just explained. No other questions on that? Okay, and we'll stop that.